You probably think canned foods are one of the safest things in your pantry. Some canned foods are not just unhealthy. They can quietly stress your heart, your kidneys, and your nervous system without a single warning sign. And if you are over 45, the risks hit harder and faster. Sodium overloads, hidden additives, chemical conlinings, and even bacteria that do not announce themselves. Today, we are breaking down 6 canned foods you should avoid at all costs, and 2 that are actually safe to keep on your shelf. If you know what to look for, this is not panic, it is protection. Let us start with one of the most deceptive cans in the store. Vienna sausages look harmless. Small can, soft texture, easy to eat. But for older adults, they are a perfect storm of problems. One can often pack 700 to over 1,000 milligrams of sodium, which can spike blood pressure in minutes. That is nearly half your daily recommended limit in just a few bites. For people already managing hypertension or heart conditions, this kind of sodium load is not just unhealthy, it is dangerous. Reduced sodium versions are not much better. Many replace salt with potassium chloride, which sounds healthier until you realize it is dangerous for people with kidney disease or those taking common heart medications. If your kidneys are not filtering efficiently, excess potassium can build up in your blood and cause serious heart rhythm problems. This is especially true for older adults whose kidney function naturally declines with age. Then, there is the processing. Vienna sausages rely on nitrites to stay pink and shelf-stable, compounds that have been linked to long-term cancer risk. These preservatives prevent bacterial growth, but they also form nitrosamines in your body, especially when exposed to high heat or stomach acid. Research continues to show connections between processed meats with nitrites and increased cancer rates, particularly colorectal cancer. And because they are low-acid foods, they depend entirely on perfect canning. If the seal fails, botulism toxin can form with no smell or taste. Botulism is one of the deadliest foodborne illnesses, causing paralysis and respiratory failure. It thrives in low-oxygen, low-acid environments, exactly what you find inside a can of Vienna sausages. Add questionable can linings and phosphate additives that stress aging kidneys, and suddenly, this snack looks more like a medical setback in a can. Canned soup sells comfort. Warm, easy, familiar. But what is inside often tells a different story. Many popular soups deliver 600 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium per bowl, and most people eat more than one serving. That is a fast track to fluid retention and blood pressure spikes. For someone trying to manage their cardiovascular health, a single bowl of canned soup can undo days of careful eating. When brands cut sodium, they often add potassium salts instead, which can disrupt heart rhythm in vulnerable adults. The substitution seems logical on paper, but for people with compromised kidney function or those on medications like ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics, it creates a hidden danger. Your heart relies on precise electrolyte balance, and too much potassium can be just as harmful as too much sodium. Creamy soups hide phosphate additives that quietly strain kidneys and weaken bones over time. These additives give soup a smooth texture and prevent separation, but they also increase phosphorus levels in your blood. High phosphorus pulls calcium from your bones and deposits it in your blood vessels, accelerating arterial stiffness and bone loss. This is particularly concerning for older adults already at risk for osteoporosis. And because many soups are low acid, they require flawless sterilization. If something goes wrong, botulism becomes a risk you will not smell or taste. Even the can itself can contribute chemical exposure from linings designed to withstand heat and acid. That cozy bowl can come with consequences your body does not bounce back from easily. Canned chili feels like a hearty, complete meal. Meat, beans, spices, but it is one of the riskiest items on the shelf. Chili is a low-acid food, meaning it must be pressure sterilized perfectly to prevent deadly bacteria from surviving inside the can. When processing fails, botulism does not give warnings. You will not see discoloration, you will not smell anything off, and the texture will seem normal. By the time symptoms appear, the toxin has already damaged your nervous system. Beyond that, a single cup of canned chili often contains 1,000 milligrams of sodium or more. Eat the whole can, and you have burned most of your daily limit in one sitting. This is not just about blood pressure. High sodium intake is linked to stroke, heart failure, kidney disease, and stomach cancer. Your body can only process so much salt efficiently, and when you overwhelm it regularly, damage accumulates. Reduced sodium versions frequently use potassium chloride, increasing cardiac risk for people on blood pressure or kidney medications. Again, the substitution creates a false sense of security. You think you are making a healthier choice, but for certain populations, you are trading one risk for another. Phosphate additives preserve texture but overload kidneys over time. Add chemical can linings, and you are no longer eating comfort food. You are stacking multiple hidden risks into one bowl. Canned fruit looks healthy. It is fruit after all. But once it is swimming in syrup, it becomes dessert disguised as nutrition. 1 cup of fruit in heavy syrup can deliver over 40 grams of sugar, causing rapid blood sugar spikes that stress the heart and metabolism. That is more sugar than a can of soda. For people managing diabetes or prediabetes, this kind of sugar bomb can send blood glucose soaring and insulin crashing. Even light syrup still means added sugar. For older adults, repeated sugar surges interfere with medications and raise cardiovascular risk. Sugar does not just affect your waistline. It promotes inflammation, damages blood vessels, increases triglycerides, and contributes to insulin resistance. When you are already taking medications for heart disease or diabetes, adding massive sugar loads makes those medications work harder and less effectively. Then there is the can itself. Fruit acids can pull chemicals from can linings more aggressively, increasing exposure over time. The acidity of fruits like pineapple, peaches, and cherries can cause more leaching of materials from the interior coating of the can. While many manufacturers have moved away from BPA linings, replacement chemicals have not been studied as thoroughly, and early research suggests some may carry similar risks. Some canned fruits have also been flagged in recalls for heavy metals like lead or cadmium. These do not leave your body quickly. They accumulate. Lead affects your brain, kidneys, and cardiovascular system. Cadmium damages kidneys and bones. Both are particularly dangerous for older adults whose bodies are less efficient at detoxifying and excreting these metals. If you want canned fruit, water, or natural juice is safer. Syrup turns a healthy option into a metabolic trap. Spinach should be a superfood, but canned spinach creates problems fresh or frozen versions do not. First, it often contains 700 milligrams of sodium per cup, even before seasoning. That is nearly a third of your daily limit in a single side dish. And because spinach shrinks so much when cooked, it is easy to eat multiple cups without realizing how much sodium you have consumed. Reduced sodium versions may substitute potassium salts, which can be dangerous for kidney patients. Once again, the healthy-sounding alternative becomes a risk for people with compromised kidney function or those on certain medications. Spinach is also known to absorb heavy metals like cadmium from soil, metals that accumulate in kidneys and bones over decades. Unlike water-soluble toxins that your body can flush out, heavy metals bind to tissues and stay there, causing long-term damage. Add naturally high oxalates, which increase kidney stone risk, and very high vitamin K levels that complicate blood thinner use. Spinach contains some of the highest levels of oxalates of any vegetable. For people prone to kidney stones, especially calcium oxalate stones, eating large amounts of canned spinach can trigger stone formation. And if you are on warfarin or other blood thinners, the high vitamin K content can interfere with your medication, making your blood too thick and increasing clot risk. Because spinach is low acid, it also depends on perfect canning to prevent botulism. Any bulging, leaking, or damaged can should be discarded immediately. What should? Support your health ends up demanding constant caution instead. The irony is that fresh or frozen spinach gives you all the nutritional benefits without the sodium, heavy metals, or botulism risk. Canned pasta might be the most misleading food in the aisle. It smells familiar, tastes nostalgic, but nutritionally, it is an ultra-processed cocktail. One cup can contain 700 to 1,300 milligrams of sodium, plus added sugars to balance acidity. The tomato sauce is acidic, so manufacturers add sugar to make it palatable. You end up with a dish that is simultaneously too salty and too sweet, overwhelming your taste buds and your metabolism. Many varieties include phosphate additives that quietly stress kidneys and stiffen arteries over time. These additives keep the pasta from getting mushy and the sauce from separating. But they come at a cost. Excess phosphorus in your bloodstream calcifies soft tissues, including your blood vessels. This makes your arteries less flexible and your heart work harder to pump blood through stiffened vessels. Reduced sodium options often rely on potassium chloride, raising heart rhythm risks for people on common medications. By now, you see the pattern. The food industry knows consumers want lower sodium, so they substitute potassium chloride and call it healthier. But for millions of people, especially older adults with kidney issues or on heart medications, this substitution is not safer. It is just a different kind of dangerous. Tomato-based sauces can increase chemical leaching from can linings, especially when stored in heat. If you have ever left canned goods in a hot garage or car, the heat accelerates the breakdown of can linings and increases the migration of chemicals into your food. Acidic foods like tomato sauce make this process even faster. Add preservatives, refined starches, and processed meats, and you are stacking multiple risk factors into one convenience meal. This is not just comfort food. It is long-term strain packaged for speed. The cost does not show up immediately. It shows up in labs, medications, and doctor visits. Your kidneys filter more waste, your arteries stiffen more quickly, your blood sugar becomes harder to control, and your heart works harder every single day. Not all canned foods deserve the bad reputation. Canned beans are one of the rare exceptions. When properly processed, they are pressure sterilized at high temperatures that eliminate dangerous bacteria. If the can is intact, no bulging, leaks, or deep dents, the risk is extremely low. The canning process for beans is well established and highly effective at preventing contamination. Beans do contain sodium, but here's the key. Rinsing them under water for 10 to 30 seconds can remove up to 40% of the salt instantly. Just open the can, pour the beans into a strainer, and run cold water over them. This simple step dramatically reduces sodium without sacrificing any of the nutritional benefits. Nutritionally, beans provide protein, fiber, potassium, and folate, nutrients many adults fall short on. They support heart health, blood sugar control, and digestion. The fiber in beans feeds healthy gut bacteria, slows sugar absorption, and helps lower cholesterol. The protein supports muscle maintenance, which becomes increasingly important as you age. Choose no salt-added versions when possible. Rinse thoroughly and store cans in a cool place. Done right, canned beans are affordable, safe, and genuinely beneficial. Canned tomatoes earn their place on the safe list for a reason. They are naturally acidic, creating an environment where dangerous bacteria like botulism simply cannot grow. That acidity, combined with high temperature processing, makes them one of the safest canned foods available. The pH of tomatoes is low enough that even if sterilization were not perfect, harmful bacteria would not survive. Even better, cooking tomatoes actually increases the availability of lycopene, a powerful antioxidant linked to heart health. Lycopene is more bioavailable in cooked and processed tomatoes than in raw ones. This antioxidant helps protect against oxidative stress, reduces inflammation, and may lower the risk of certain cancers and heart disease. The main concern is sodium, which is easy to control by choosing no salt-added versions. Some people should also watch potassium levels depending on medications. As for can linings, most tomato products have already shifted away from older materials because acidity accelerates leaching. Stored properly and used wisely, canned tomatoes are both safe and nutritionally smart. A rare win in the canned food aisle. Canned food is not the enemy. Blind trust is. Some cans quietly overload your heart, kidneys, and metabolism, especially as your body becomes less forgiving with age. Others, when chosen carefully, can actually support your health. The difference is not convenience. It is awareness. Check sodium levels before you buy. Watch for potassium substitutions if you have kidney issues or take certain medications. Inspect cans for damage before purchasing and before opening. Store them properly in cool, dry places away from heat. And most importantly, do not let nostalgia make decisions your body has to pay for later. What tasted good in childhood may not serve your health now. Your body has changed, and your food choices need to change with it.